When I was 4, I had polio, and for over a year I couldn't walk. And when I could, my mobility was limited. Still is to some extent. A lot of my life at that time was waiting for people to bring me things or push me around in a modified pram. Others generally seemed to decide what I'd do or where I'd be. I often felt like a bystander, not really included in events. There were times of more freedom where I could get around independently by dragging myself around on the ground. I learned that waiting was one of the ways not to be free. Perhaps that's why, for most of my adult life, I focused on doing rather than wondering what to do. My parents sent me to a private boys' school where sport was compulsory and very highly valued. I was conscripted to the umpires club, a place where those of us who couldn't or wouldn't play sport ended up. I was not really in a place to make good umpiring decisions because I'd never participated in sport, and frankly, to this point, I hadn't been interested that much. My focus was always on what I could do. This was a lesson learned by our first 18 footy team, who rued my terrible goal umpiring decisions. I didn't know where to stand and wasn't able to move backwards fast without tripping over. At school, I felt marginalised, lacked confidence, was a mediocre student and couldn't play sport. I felt as far as the teachers were concerned, I was invisible. Perhaps this is why grammar schools are called exclusive. I was asked to speak at the 25th reunion of my school year. I said I was there to represent those who didn't fit in. I spoke about my feelings of having a lot to offer, but not being valued. After my speech, I was inundated by former students, many of whom seemed to excel at school. They told me that they didn't feel that they'd fitted in either, and that I'd voiced their feelings of schoolboy isolation. For 30 years, I've always found satisfying and interesting work, often involving people who face barriers to employment. For me, work has been the key way in which we all participate in society to express our gifts, our individuality. I'd always felt that I had a role to play, assisting those who faced barriers to work, who, through whatever circumstances, were denied the opportunity to express their lives through a contribution to the things that our society values, that it'll pay for and confer the dignity that work and self-sufficiency bring. Only recently, it occurred to me that my interest in the inclusion of others was born out of my own experience of wanting to participate and contribute, but not having the legs to play the game designed for others. My name's Jock Noble. At the age of 45, I began Diversity at Work, a social enterprise that assists companies to become stronger and more competitive by increasing the diversity and inclusion of their workforces and building a better world by including the countless gifts of the people who make up our whole community. I feel I'm an incredibly privileged person. Not only do I have a wonderfully challenging, meaningful work, but I'm in a place where I can influence the leaders of some of Australia's largest companies to open their doors to the gifts and contributions of people who'll give everything they have to engage in meaningful work and to enjoy the dignity of being valued for who they are, to pay taxes and to take their place as full citizens in our wonderful country and world. My personal motto is, all I can do is all I can do. And while a lot of the time that doesn't seem enough, I have the sense that on my deathbed I won't have too many regrets.